Hey everybody, just thought I'd jump on here. I was thinking about making something for supper and decided that I was going to make some soup beans, or pinto beans. We always called them soup beans when I was growing up. Anyway, I found this recipe to make them in my Instant Pot. So I tried them one day and it turned out perfect. I've always tried to make my soup beans like my mom and my grandmother did, but I never could get it to come out right. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you what I do and how mine turn out. The only thing I'm missing is an onion. I was going to chop up an onion and put in them, but I do have the chopped onions that are the dried onions, so I'm just going to use those for this recipe. But anyway, just wanted to kind of show how I make the soup beans. Okay, so I have my Instant Pot. I've got it plugged in, ready to go. And you need some pinto beans. I've got 2 pounds here of pinto beans. Some chicken broth or base. Some salt, some chopped onions. You can do the dried or you can chop your own onions, however you want to do it. I also have a ham bone here that's frozen. This was left over from Christmas dinner. I made a ham, so I saved the bone. It's got quite a bit of meat on it. And then you also can use jowl bacon. I call it jowl bacon, but it's anyway. I got it in another bag, but because I already used some of this. It's just the smoked pork jowls, and you just cut it up in like 1-inch pieces and throw in there. But I think I'm going to use the ham bone today rather than the jowl bacon, so that's what I'm going to use. But I'm just letting you know that you can do either way. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is open your beans. You're going to want to put them in a bowl. Sorry, almost lost them there. Okay, got them in a bowl, and you're going to want to wash these, because my mother taught me a long time ago, if you don't wash them, then you might end up with like rocks or whatever dirt in them. So go ahead and fill that up and maybe just cut. Doesn't have to be hot water. It could be any water that you want to use. And then I just swirl them around a little bit, rinse them off really good. Hang on just a moment, let me pause this. Okay, so you continue to wash them. I usually rinse them 2 or 3 times to make sure they're good and clean. And then I'm using a strainer to strain the water out of them. A little hard to do this one-handed. So anyway, I'm going to put the phone down for a moment and get that done. Okay, so I've got my beans rinsed, did it like 3 times. Now we're going to take them and we're going to put them inside the Instant Pot. Okay, got them in there. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is put your ham bone in there, or whatever you're going to cook in your beans. You can do the jowl bacon if you'd like. Let's see if I can do this one-handedly. Okay, so I got my ham bone in there, frozen, with the beans. And now the next thing to do is we need to add, and I'm just going to use this tablespoon. See if I can do this with one hand. I'm going to put like a couple of tablespoons of this chicken broth in there. Maybe a little more. I've got it heaped over a little bit. That's okay. It's not going to hurt it. All right. I made a mess. Man, I didn't realize this would be so difficult with one hand. Okay, let me set that aside. Okay, now, next you want to put a little bit of salt in there. I'm not going to put a whole lot because I put the chicken broth in there, but just a little sprinkle. I'm not going to put a whole lot in there. Just a little bit. And then a couple of tablespoons of these onions, dried onions in there. Don't need a whole lot. All right, now that's got all our ingredients in there. And I'm going to put some water in there to put about 4 cups of water in there, I'm guessing, maybe 3. But this was a 2-cup measuring cup. And we just want enough water let me see if I can make this smaller. Yep, there we go. I think 3 cups is going to be enough. Okay. Because it's already covering our beans, but I like to put a little extra just because the last time I made some beans, let me get my spoon here so I can kind of stir this up, get everything good and incorporated. All right. Okay, so everything is in there and we're ready to put the lid on it. So okay, once you got your thing on there, I always put it on manual, and then I'm going to set it for 90 minutes. If you have a thing on there a setting for beans, you can use that if you'd like, but I'm just doing manual and then setting it for 90 minutes. That's usually plenty. Okay, and then you just leave it alone. Let it go ahead and heat up. All right. And when I get the beans done, I will come back and show you how they turned out. Okay, so since I'm making soup beans or pinto beans for dinner, I thought I'd make some cornbread to go with it. So anyway, I'm just showing you what all goes in my cornbread. I've got the cornmeal, the all-purpose flour, some honey, a little baking powder, some butter, and of course some flour. So what I did was, this right here is the cornmeal. I got some yellow cornmeal in here. There's 1 1/4 cup. And then you're gonna add your flour to that, which is, I did 3/4 of a cup. And I don't have any fancy bowls to put this stuff in, so. Okay, now, the next thing you're going to want to do is add your baking powder. Okay, so I'm going to need 2 teaspoons baking powder. I don't know why I was thinking just 1/4 of a teaspoon, but no, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I also almost forgot my milk. I got to have about 3/4 to a cup of milk. And my egg, which I'm gonna beat before I put it in there. And then I'm gonna put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of honey. That's gonna help sweeten it, and it also makes it brown nice. Anyway, so I've got my, I've got my cornmeal in there, which is 1 1/4 cups. I've got 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, and then 1 egg, and I'm holding the camera. I'm putting in. Okay, so got all my ingredients in here except for my butter. That's heating up in the pan, and all you're going to do is just mix this up really well. And then once your pan heats up enough and your butter's all melted, they call it browning the butter. Once you've browned your butter, you can mix it in with this, and that's going to be the fat, because you got to have some fat in there if you're going to make bread. So anyway, all right, let me put this down because I can't mix and do it at the same time. I'm gonna have to remember to get my tripod in here. Okay, so we're down to the 4-minute mark for it to be done. The thing is I'm gonna let it slow release, which means I'm not going to release the pressure on my Instant Pot. I'm just gonna let it release on its own. So it's gonna take about 30 minutes. And I did forget to mention on the cornbread, once your butter's melted and it's kind of browning a little bit, you take it out of the oven. You're going to pour the rest of the butter into the mix, stir it up really good, put the whole mix back into the skillet and put it in the oven. Okay, so the beans are done. They turned out perfect. I think I dug most of the bone out of it. Sorry, I'm trying to see what I'm doing and do this at the same time. But I'm just kind of breaking some of the meat up so it'll be in there, incorporated in there good. But I think I got most of the bone out. We might run across a small one here or there. Anyway, I love it. Look at this thick juice. And there's the bones where I dug the bones out. And I'm going to dip some of this out into a bowl and take a picture of it so I could use it as my main picture. And